Good evening, everyone. Let me fan myself. No hot flashes tonight. Just, oh my goodness, Lucas Bouchard all over my TV screen. Oh my. This is the most screen time this guy's had, and I don't know how long. And I didn't even add it all up. Pretty cool. I enjoyed this episode, not just because of all the Lucas content, but I don't know. I love the pacing of it. It was a good episode. There were certain things I could do without, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. Before we get started, I put up what Margie was saying. She was saying she's asking for prayers for her state of South Carolina. We currently have 175 wildfires burning at various locations. High winds and dry weather conditions are not helping. I'm not in the path of fires. Okay, well, we will definitely keep you in prayer. All right, everyone. So I want to share what Margie had, I'm sorry, what Jan had to say, because it kind of sums up a lot of how I'm feeling. Hooray, we finally got to see the old Lucas, and we did that cute little smile of his, and like the season 6 Lucas, okay? Plus, he and Henry together again, and Lucas doing what he does best, that which is for the good of all. Yes. Yes, yes. So while we're waiting for a few people to jump in, let's go over some wonderful trending numbers, okay? Are you agreeing with me, Lillian? Some stuff was silly. We could talk about that Monday night. So at 9:20, I was checking the trending numbers straight up on X, not using my database. And what I found interesting, these are the for my area, this is what was coming up. What came up was Nathan and Elizabeth. That was one of the hashtags that came up, and they had 1,219 at that time. This was at 9:20, which is, of course, Eastern time. Chris McNally was already up to 5,440. He was already trending before the show, like 2 hours before the show even started. The Hardys, they were trending with 4,025. Lucas Bouchard was trending with 2,884. And I had put out a post. One of my posts was about how I was excited to see that, because they shared that promo with Lucas and Edie going to dinner. I was excited for them to have a working dinner. However, I didn't want it to be one that was like solely based like on romance. Do you know what I mean? We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And a lot of people requoted it, but you know what? It caught the eye of Hallmark Plus. They actually requoted it too. So they're listening. They're listening. The next check that I did right before I was taking notes, I got my big book out in front of me. Like around 9:43, Chris McNally was up to 6,131 trending numbers. Lucas Bouchard had grown to 3,165. And the big old time winner, I had to go check it was there for me and then it disappeared. So I had to go check in my database. The big one was Lucas looks good on and off paper. That was 7,000 when I checked at 9:43. So yeah, that's a lot, right? Yes, that's a lot. All right. So love that you added the reach that our tweets are getting. Yes, Nikki, that's important because that's the whole important thing, like who's seeing it and whatnot. But I talked about this before. Sometimes people have a lesser trending number and a reach in the millions. And that is because Hallmark Plus will pick it up and retweet it, or Hallmark themselves, or maybe one of the producers or the actors or the writers. That's why I always say we can't just have so much negativity because no one else is going to pick it up. I know we can voice our opinions, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to talk anymore about that, but that was kind of exciting, right? I'm sorry, I'm shaking my screen all over the place. So before we close, I want to talk about, not yet, Parrots Analytics. We need to talk about that. That has been up and people have been asking about it. And I just want to say a few words, not much. And we also have to end with the previews. So how about the screen time? Um, Listen, how about the screen time? How many of you were like looking at the screen time? Did anybody add it up? I can't do it while I'm watching it. I can't also be adding it up and taking notes. So I do that. I add it up the next time I watch, and it tends to be data that I can share the next time we meet, like when we have our episode 10 fireside chat. Oh, let me also put a note about Chris McNally that I want to share. I got a lot of things. Don't let me forget. Okay. It's getting tired. It was my dad's birthday yesterday. And my dad passed away. And so this was our first year without him. And I always made him a special dinner. And so we had all those yummies. And I was cooking in the kitchen. It smelled very Italian in my household today. And I'm tired. I'm just sharing. It didn't add it up. It had a decent amount of screen time. Okay. You could tell though, Lillian, right? All right. It was a lot more than minute. I know. It had to be like triple the time that we have seen him before, which is wonderful. So I loved how it started. And this is how I knew it was going to be going. It was going to be good because Lucas was there talking to Henry and like his sounding board and sharing what was going on and again letting him know how much he values his thoughts and his expertise and his experience and he's like, I know you didn't want to get you didn't want to be dragged back into politics. And I don't know, it was just so Lucas. It was so on point of what's been said before. It wasn't like, breaking storyline where they say things sometimes that just we know are not true, which was exciting. And then he says to him, remember, it was like everybody was worried about what the personal like loss would be. And they're like, he won't be able to be governor. He didn't look so broken up by that. He's like, I'm willing to take the risk. This is the right thing to do. And this is what I'm going to do. Because he's been trying to please everyone. And in pleasing everyone, he can't please anyone. So I loved it. Cindy, so I'm wondering if the personal cost for Lucas is loss of the governorship. It is, Cindy. They actually just, did you watch the episode? He actually talked about it. So more than one time, even when he had the conversation with Edie. But I don't think that he will lose it because I'll tell you why. I had said this before. I think that McGinty is like the Garrison. I thought that the Garrison storyline would be just quick and he'd go away because I think the true villain here is McGinty because he's like the loan shark and he's been charging people and to use his his Pat Meadow. And I think that he has been destroying the other pathways because they kind of gave a hint of that when the two Ollie, Allie and Oliver were in the woods. So I think there's going to be more that comes out with that. And I think that even though it's like he's a threat and when he explained everything to Edie, she said to him, it's not going to be good. And he will seek revenge. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I feel like it's all going to come about. It's going to all come out. And I saw in the previews where Lucas and Nathan actually are sharing a scene together. They're out there by the meadow being confronted by McGinty, and he says something very nasty to Allie. And you know that Lucas and Allie have a relationship. They have since she first came into town, and he has, helped her out before with things that have been going on, which I like. And he respects her and has been listening to her all throughout the season, although I don't know why they have a child that is sort of the hero of the town and solving all these adult problems, but that's okay. Reminds me of Dawson's Creek, where children solved adult problems all the time. Remember that show? But anyway, I think you see Lucas. I don't know if anybody caught it. Lucas has to hold back Nathan because McGinty says something sort of confrontational and derogatory towards Allie, which I feel like this is all going to be interesting. And McGinty, of course, is not going to win. So I don't know, just the whole storyline of today and how it all intertwined with other people. And because of Lucas's storyline, we got to see Henry, we got to see Mike and May, we got to see Lee. Now, I know some people probably were going to be perturbed when Lucas went to Lee and apologized again, but it wasn't that kind of an apology, because Lee it was a softer kind of an apology between the two. And he was like, in trying to like make everyone happy, I sort of compromised on things I shouldn't have, and I'm not going to. I'm going to do an executive order. I'm like, executive order? Here in the United States, we've been hearing a lot. I'm not trying to get political, but I almost spit my tea across the room and I heard executive order, because first of all, they don't even have governors in Canada. It's just so political, like the United States, all the executive orders. But how did they know that when they wrote this, it would fall under this time frame here in the United States? I just thought that part was funny. So he's making an executive order. I guess I don't have to vote on it, and it's in their constitution that they can make such orders. We'll see. Anyway, I loved Lee's smile when he was like looking and watching Edie and Lucas talk to each other. And I was thinking to myself, when I saw the preview and I couldn't hone in like to see exactly in the preview, I was hoping that look that Lee had was because he wanted to have a conversation with Lucas that was more about his heart, even though it was just a hint of it, and not more about, oh, can we trust her kind of thing. Not that I'm rushing off them to be a couple. That was my tweet that I put out there about take your time. Dinner for two is fine, but let's make it like a relationship that we get to see grow, a friendship. And that's the one the Hallmark Plus liked. Now, before I go any further, I got to see what y'all are saying, because I'm going blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Nathan has always been much more reactionary about things than Lucas is, and Lucas thinks things first. Yes, you're right. So he holds him back, and I'm excited to see how that works. Let's see. Honestly, I would be good with Lucas not being governor and staying in Hope Valley. I wonder what he would do, though. Yes, well, that was what I was thinking. What would he do? Bail out Edie out of buy her ranch from her, become a rancher, and make that his investment? I don't know. Because I don't know. Would he get to have the saloon back? He only gave it up because it was, conflict of interest, so they said. Jennifer says apology was stupid because like bowing down to Lee. No, I didn't take it that way at all. I did not take it, no bowing down to Lee. It wasn't that. It was more like he had this idea and this plan. And then as soon as he heard that it might conflict with the ranchers, instead of, just saying, this is how I'm going to do it, because this was my plan all along, he was trying to appease too many people, which a governor should do, but not, it was getting to be wild. And then the very reason why they had the park kept shrinking. Lee did a little cut, a funny cut like that too, to Edie, and she kind of took it on the chin. She was good. I didn't think it was. I loved how they kind of laughed and had a funny about it. Let's see. Yes, Henry and Lucas together again makes me so happy, as I love the two of them together and how they trust each other so much as a great pairing. Yes, and we need to see more of that. We truly do. Kudos to the two writers. It was a team writers, and they did a good job. And it's funny because I've said this before. I wasn't so sure that I'd be okay with the writing of the one, because I felt like his humor was kind of mean, but I actually liked the last one he wrote. And it was one of my other episodes that I enjoyed. So I enjoyed this one as well. Sorry, typo. It's good to see Lee and Edie again. I didn't like that Rosemary and Elizabeth get themselves involved. So we're not, thank you, Chelsea. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow. I want to just focus on Lucas. Let's see. Lillian, doesn't anyone eat dinners in this saloon anymore? Is it just a sandwich shop now? I think that they do eat dinners, but they're not like on a big grand. They do eat dinners because they've been served tea and stuff like that. But I think what happened was Lucas probably wanted to have more of like a private dinner with Edie so they could talk business, so they can hear each other. There's a lot going on. You're under the eye of many, many people. I don't know. I thought it seemed more intimate. And I love how they kept stressing the strictly business part. And she even said, at first I was like, please don't tell me they're repeating the scene that happened in the library, because Edie starts off with, and if we were having drinks together, and I was like, oh no, not where it's not really a date, but it's a date, remember? And he said, if we were, I would have looked at you this way and I would have done this and that. And she sort of wrote, and I was like, no, don't repeat. They didn't repeat it. Thank God. Does anybody else catch that? And I like when he says, I wish it was just pleasure, like their dinner, but this is about, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And she's like, okay, as their lawyer. And then she explains what's going to happen. But he says to her, and we will still be friends. And she, like the look that she gets on her in her eyes. I love the two of them together. I'm all for it. If they're planning on making them have a relationship, beyond just friendship, and I think that's where they want to go. I am absolutely for it. They did put a lot of time and effort into this. They being the producers, Chris had said that, it was like a 4-hour day of just sitting with all these different actresses. And he said that he said they were all good. He said they all did a good job because they were all different and brought something different. But I mentioned this before. He liked working with Miranda because he saw that she could act, and I'm paraphrasing this, she could act with her eyes. Like there was a story being told with her facial expressions, and he does that. And if he, as an actor, felt the chemistry and they had him in on it, they allowed him to choose it. They, being the powers that be, understand that they need something they're not taking a chance. It can be conveyed across the screen. And I know people are mad and say there's no chemistry. You can have your opinion on it, but here's the truth of the matter. If the actor feels the chemistry, then there is chemistry, because they're going to lean into that. So I'm fine with it. I'm excited with it. I hope we see it in this season progress more. We still have 10, 11, and 12. So, I mean, a lot happened in this episode. So I'm excited to see more happening. Let's see. I would love to see him have the Queen of Hearts back. Okay. It was his happy place. Chelsea. Allie reminds me too much of Elizabeth. Okay. I wish Lucas could get the saloon back. A lot of you are saying that. All right. And Margie was saying that too. I was wondering why they didn't eat at the Queen of Hearts too. Were Mike and May staying above the cafe, and that's why they were there? No, Margie. They were supposed to help out. Remember when Angela was going to the school? They were like Joseph and Minnie was explaining everything to May and whatnot, and they all got caught up in what was going on with Allie that they forgot, and there was no food to eat. But I loved how they were okay with it, and they being Lucas and Edie. And I liked a lot about when they took that was cute, and they took the chicken and they did like a little cheers. Although, didn't that chicken look a little beige? I think my recipe for next week is I have a recipe for really good chicken, and it includes pickles, and you can make it into a sandwich. So I was like, oh my God, that's my recipe for next week. But that was cute how they have like a fun about them. There's already, so in Lucas's last relationship with who, there was fun, but then there wasn't fun for a long time. She was so serious and so, oh, even if you touch my hand and blah, 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 blah. These two already have little digs and say funny things to each other. It's like they're writing a different kind of a relationship for Lucas, which I'm there for. I'm rooting for it. Rooting. But I want to see, don't want to be told. I want to see some growth. I love that. And the cute little smile that he gave her, like when he's together with her and he's like, oh, fantastic. You're here. I like it. I'm here for it all. Okay, let's see. Let's see what y'all were saying. That chicken looked pale and undercooked. Thank you, Margie. Oh, Cindy said, you answered my question. I must have missed where they explained why the cafe was open. It's okay. There was a lot going on. You were distracted by, we finally got to see like our guy on the screen for more than a blip, because before, if you blinked or you sneezed or you turned your head to see, someone talking to you in your family that you just want to shoo away, you missed his whole scene, but not tonight. There was a lot going on. Um, They didn't even bring them plates, just brought the food out for them to eat. I know, it was hilariously supposed to be hilarious and silly, and I'm okay with it. I was there for it. Margie, I like Edie. Oh, wait a minute. Miriam. Hi, Miriam. I like Edie. She is a bright spot in the show for me. Me too. Thanks. I agree with you. We're best buds tonight. Yes, we are. My best bud changes. It's always somebody who agrees with me. Jennifer, oh, I got another best bud. It's like the three of us together now. I'm with you, Roxanne. I want to see the relationship grow, not just hold. And it looks like it's going to be fun. And I want it to be fun. And now I'm kind of excited because I know in the previews it says that those two go on a chase of some sort for the gold. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm ready for this. This is exciting, but that's not till a couple more episodes. Sheila. Not much of a romantic or even working dinner when the chicken looked rather gross. I know, in the day-old bread. Baked fresh yesterday, but bread is good, even though, yeah. Let's see what Robin says. Maybe he will end up looking after the national park once he is not governor, and Edie has to assist at the ranch. Ranch will cause problems for sure. We'll see. We'll see how that all rolls. I truly think that he's still going to be governor. I do. I really think he is, because I think that McGinty is not going to get away with it. And it's going to wind up exposing how he's been a loan shark and how he has been causing damage to the areas where the ranchers can go. And then the ranchers in the end, well, they're not going to be able to use, there's the pasture. Like, I think there's that pasture that can be redirected, right? I don't know. I'm thinking ahead now. I'm thinking the ranchers won't be allowed to use it at all. I don't know. I feel like they're going to come up with something. It's going to work. It's all going to work out. Okay. It's Hope Valley, and I need a drink. I said a lot of words. I bet Chris wishes they would have had one of his stuffed chicken. Oh, I know. Oh, yes. Uh-huh. They should arrest McGinty. And they might, Susan. I feel like it's going in that direction because he's been doing bad things, and Allie caught kind of a little bit of it. He's the real villain, more so than the gang. And I'm wondering, somebody got to that gold ahead of time. Maybe the uncle did and hid it somewhere, or who knows? I don't know. There's some more going on. Lucas and Edie will find a way to make it work for all. I agree. Hi, Lynn. How are you? I want to be your best bud too. I really like Edie with Lucas. Well, guess what, Lynette? You are. We are. Now we got 4. We've got a square. We're square. I think Lucas will be fine with this executive order eventually, but I do think that this will cause conflict because it's a good writing tool to use to cause the conflict. And we'll see. Oh, maybe he has the gold. It could be. You don't know. All right. Jody, I love Edie, and I'm also on board with the two of them together eventually. I feel like there is chemistry between them, and I'm so happy for Lucas. If this does happen, I love them together. Listen, how many episodes have we watched? Lucas, he's been in every episode, okay? Even if it was for 2 seconds. When was the time that we saw him smile and kind of have like a little laugh? This is episode 9. That's a long time for us to see it, not even counting last season, okay? It took us to episode 9 to see him laughing, not once or twice, but several times, laughing and smiling. And I was like, wow, what's that? You look weird to me because I'm so used to, a scowl or like he's at the end of his rope, I think Chris had to practice in the mirror. I have to smile in this episode. I have to smile and laugh and smile. He was relaxed. Very much, Susan. Middle of season 10. Yes, thank you. It's been going on for forever and a day. Uh-huh. Tonight he definitely smoked, and the eye contact with Edie was amazing. It's starting. It is. It is. Lee picked up on it. He had a cute little eyebrow up and a smile. He didn't say much. I'm waiting to see if he ever does. Like say something as if, men don't say, "Oh, you opening your heart up," like Rosemary and Elizabeth might say, but I hope there's some kind of a conversation there, I really think he's deserving of it. The character is deserving of it. Okay. Margie. Oh, I don't think she found it yet either, because I think she's oblivious to it, and they go on but remember the uncle used to send her on scavenger hunts on the property, and I feel like this is what's going to happen. And how serious can it be? It can't be very serious and super dangerous. It has to be more on the fun side, because it's Bill and Rosemary that are on a hunt, and they're trying to beat them to it, they being Lucas and Edie. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to rush it, because, that means the season's over and all that other stuff. Okay. Yes, he did notice for sure. Thank you, Robin. All right, Avis. I still think Lucas can open other businesses like a movie house, bowling alley. Sure, he can, Avis. Any kind of thing. That would be fun. But we always have that set issue too, right? So I don't know. All right. Kathy, hello. Let's go here with Nikki. I think you're onto something, Nikki. I think so too. I think he left her clues. But here's what makes me upset. The gold is stolen, so it has to go back. So it's not like she gets to keep any of it. But maybe because there's a reward for it, she'll get to keep some of it, and it'll help her get out of that debt, because they find it, and then and what do Bill and Rosemary don't need it if there's a reward. So there could be something to that. Kathy, this was a good episode. Sans some of the silliest, yes, especially with Ava. I was wondering if Edie and Lucas were going to have a tense conversation and it caused conflict. So happy that it was good. Yeah, like he right away, he couldn't wait to share what he had to share, but then also said, "And we will be friends." And she was like that, right away, because she's already smitten with him, and that's okay. She can be. Do you think that he realizes that she's smitten with him? Do you think that Lucas, I know they have to write this, but do you think that Lucas is aware that she has a crush on him, or is he still so in his head? He's pretty good at reading people, though. What do you think? The ranchers will cause problems. I think Lucas and Edie have the best chemistry. Yes, me too. You are excited too. I think one of their last scenes this season will be them slow dancing. That's right, they do dance in a way, don't they? Won't we want that? I think he sees that she is interested in him for sure. Good. I think he's oblivious. Okay. Mary says, if it's between the gold, Edie and little Jack, Lucas will sacrifice for little Jack. Edie would do the same. I'm so excited to see where they go. My phone is crazy. Okay. I love Lucas and Edie. I even think they are better suited for each other than with the chemistry. Oh, well, Mary, listen to me. Aaron and Chris they were my second favorite couple ever to grace like a show that I watched, or ever to grace the screen on TV of a show I watched. My first favorite couple is Claire and Jamie from the Outlanders. And then Lucas and Elizabeth were there. And then I started watching, and if you have not watched The Republic of Doyle, people, my God, watch it. Don't judge it by the first 2 episodes. Stick with it. Chemistry, is Leslie and The Republic of Doyle, Mr. Doyle himself. I'm telling you, it's funny because the actor is Alan Hawko, and Alan met the character, the actress who plays Leslie, in an acting class, and he had been writing this show for the longest time, and he said he was an actor love the moment he met her, and they're both married and all that, but those two have fantastic chemistry just with dialogue. I'm not mean it's all like a sexual thing, but that's what I'm saying. Elizabeth, Aaron and Chris have great chemistry, but I'm very hopeful for Miranda and Chris. Very hopeful. I feel like Chris could have chemistry with a lot of people, but that's not true. Chemistry is really a two-way thing. Okay, you agree with me. Oh, lots of friends tonight. Oh, Christina, you and I are already best buds anyway. We're family. That doesn't count. I think Lucas and Elizabeth had absolutely amazing chemistry, and when yes, they did. They did. We're digressing. We're moving on, okay? Because in my mind, season 9 at the end, they went and they got married and they had a beautiful life. This is new. Remember, we're in new territory. It's the TN fans that do not agree, but they are not right. You know what? Let's talk about that for a minute. Not everybody is objective. I'm objective. I know I'm objective because I have to be, because as a teacher, you need to be. So here's the thing. They absolutely, positively had Richter scale craziness chemistry, Aaron and Chris. Kevin and Aaron do not. For whatever reason, they do not. I can, that's why I just corrected myself a lot. I think Chris McNally is a really good actor, not to cut up on Hallmark, but he's the kind of actor that doesn't have to do Hallmark. He could be doing other things. And I don't mean that as a slight. I'm just saying something because this Hallmark is not very challenging with storylines. And Chris, and then I was about to say, he has chemistry with any actress because of who he is. And that's not true. I had to correct myself. Just because I love him and like him as an actor doesn't mean I think that all of the people he has been paired up with in movies has shown great chemistry. It's not true. I could think of a couple off the top of my head. Now, with that said, if there are people who it's just because it's Kevin McGarry could be tying his shoelace and they'd be like, oh, it was the best scene. Oh my God. It was, that acting. He didn't even have to do much. And he's so great because he's theater background. Blah, blah, blah. No. And there are people who do that with Chris. Oh my God, he did this, he did that. And I'm thinking, that was not his best scene. It wasn't a bad scene, but it was no big scene. So we can't just say that about Team Nathan because there are people like that are Team Lucas. All right. Everyone has their own opinions, and that's okay. As one of my best friends loves Nathan and Elizabeth together and prefer over Lucas, and that's okay. No, that is not okay, Robin. This whole thing where it's just in my opinion. Now, I'm going to tell you why I say that. As someone who teaches literature, and we have to do literary analysis, and believe it or not, all the way down in 5th grade, you have to do this. So I could ask a kiddo, where do you think this storyline is going? Okay, if we chop it off and they don't get to hear the rest of it. And they say something like, well, an alien's going to come pop up in the backyard and going to solve all of Fido's problems. And I'm going to say, no. Well, that's my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. It's not plausible. You go back in the storyline and you find me this reason, this reason, this reason, and this reason to support what you just said. Okay? And they can't. That's my point. So, no. No to the no, to the no, no, no. No. That's all I'm going to say. No, I'm opinionated. No. All right. I have seen some people who were hoping for ENN, and now they are saying they are not happy with them because there's no chemistry. I've seen it too. And that is, listen, Erin is an exceptional actress. She's very good. And Kevin he's good. I love the new Nathan, right? The character of Nathan right now. But they just are. And the problem why they're probably is because they're such good friends. And I know people are like, oh, but we're good friends. You trust each other. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work sometimes. It's just, and not that I'm saying that Chris and Aaron, there was something nefarious going on there. I'm just saying, no, they just don't click. It doesn't work. I have to tell you though, when Kevin and Kayla did a movie together, Christmas movie, and they did the butterfly movie. And I didn't think they had any chemistry in either of those movies, especially the Christmas movie. No. But when they were Nathan and Fiona and they would share scenes, they were exceptional together. They had chemistry. I loved it. I could still think where he was eating, everybody was eating the ooey gooey cakes, and she took it from him and she was nibbling on it, and he's like looking like, you took my food, and she was walking and nervous. And then the other time when I loved them together was when she was mad with Wyman, and she threw him in the jail, and she wanted Nathan to come and talk about it and was telling him what to do. And I thought their characters had great chemistry. That is when their natural chemistry in real life came and ignited up the screen. But whatever. Sorry, not a Kevin McGarry fan of anything. And that's okay. You don't have to be. Yes. I can't find the original where they're saying something about Jan, but I think you're saying when he was in the movie with another actress, I think it was a snow movie. We don't need to cut up people, but they didn't find that they had chemistry. And both of them are good actors, so I get it with the Chris one. I know what you're saying. All right, so wait, we can't leave. We're about to leave in a few minutes, but I wanted to talk about a couple of things. I already talked about the previews. So we see a tense scene, and Lucas and Nathan are sharing the screen together. And I think Kevin McGarry and Chris probably like that because they're good friends. And that was probably nice for them. I wanted to talk about this Parrots analytics. So I'm sure, Brian Bird, he posted his article about Parrot analytics and how they recognized When Calls the Heart as in the top 3% of, fan pop, like rooting in popularity for TV shows. So here's what I'm going to say. Listen, and it's not because of the current administration and what's going on with the United States availability to valid and unbiased reporting of anything. I've always just done my research and cross-referenced. So I strongly suggest that you look up who Parrots Analytic is. They are almost like an AI type of algorithm that is global. It's not just from the United States. So they're looking at things globally, and they're collecting data for streaming, and they're collecting data for social media. So they're just reading what social media pushes out with their trending and whatnot. So yes, people are starting to use them, but again, it's just about viewership. And just look it up, make your own decisions and look at it. And here's my big takeaway from that. Let's say they're all excited, 2.2, I'm making this up, million views. Okay, so here's my next question. What is considered when you're doing streaming and you are just looking at the views? What is considered? There's there's 3 tiers, and I forget the names of them. So I'm going to make this up, and you're going to go look it up, and you're going to get the right terminology because my brain is fried. There's the exceptional, there's moderate, and there's yeah, no, you still got to work on it type of numbers. Okay. And the 2.2 million is considered to be just hitting the moderate scale of viewing of something that's good. And that's what I was looking up. So we have nothing to compare it to because cable TV and network TV has shifted and changed. It's not the same as ratings. It's something different. And all it measures is popularity, whether you want to keep the show on or not, that kind of thing. And I don't know how much of Parrot Analytics, they don't collect data for the Hallmark streaming system. They do collect it for I think, was it Prime? Whatever the three are that they listed. But look it up. Just look it up and make the decision yourself. Like, there was an article that went out and said, not that I want the show to fail. I don't mean that at all. But there was like a big argument. People were asking me about it, sending me private messages. And I was like, let me address it here. There was an article that was put out, oh, I don't know, last year or the year before. And I forget who wrote it. It wasn't Hallmark who put it out. And I don't know if it was Insider TV or something. And they said something like the number one scripted program for the year was Hallmark's The Way Home, right? Well, that's because they were like one of two. I think you can make it. Yeah, it's true, but it doesn't mean like it was major competition. Not that we think anything is going to fail. I will say this, with all this trending on streaming, then the most likely thing would be that it would go straight to streaming. So you would lose Hallmark Channel and cable network and all that. I don't know, just something to think about. Brian Bird is tooting this. He is. I know. You also have to go and look and see who pays their bills, Parrot Analytics. Look, do your research. Look it up. That's all I'm going to say for now. The other thing that I wanted to say was people have asked, so I'm going to publicly announce this. It's not something good and it's not something bad. I don't do it often because I don't want to abuse the privilege and the availability to do it. I put an official request in for Chris McNally to be my guest. And I contacted all the peeps that were involved because I wanted to be able to discuss Tip Line and When Calls the Heart seasons 11 and 12. And if he's allowed to talk about Safe Distance, which is a movie we're waiting for, and all the people that I needed to, I put them all together in a conglomerate. And I asked, and I kind of basically said that I would accommodate his schedule. I'll keep you posted. I know people ask me all the time, and I finally put in for it. So that's it. That's what I'm ending with. All right. Anybody got something to say before we go? Hope if they are, hold on. Hope if they, hi, Mary, hope if they are redoing scenes that we do not get and running to Lucas or confusing Nathan and Lucas. I don't want to see that. I would rather see Lucas going forward and not drug into the ENN story. Mary, there's no confusing of anything. What happens is in the previews, Nathan and unless I'm reading what you're saying wrong, Nathan and Lucas happen to be at the same place at the same time because it has to do with the land. And McGinty is there, and McGinty doesn't like Allie, and he says something nasty, and it makes in the preview him charge Nathan, and Lucas holds him back. I think it's subjective. Tons of people said E and L didn't have chemistry. It's just people's preferences. Bye. I already answered that. Don't want to hear that. Bye. Joanne. Hi, Joanne. When Elizabeth and Nathan are together, I see Aaron and Kevin friends in real life. Doesn't usually work in romance. Sometimes it can. Thank you for that. So crossing fingers, he's able to join. No, don't hold your breath, Robin. I'm going to lean more towards the no, it won't happen. And I'm not saying because Chris doesn't want to. I don't mean that at all. I know for a fact that he does. So, but it can't just be, oh, I want to. You know what? Let me rephrase that. If I wanted to have him on and I stipulated that we would talk about nothing related to this, and this, then it'd be a go in a minute. But I want to talk about this, and this. There's a lot to talk about. What's this? I've been seeing a lot of negative comments about too many things on multiple people's posts. I'm concerned that the Hardys overanalyzing is going to hurt the show. You know what? EA. I'm not sure what that stands for. Merrill. You got a point. Something I've been saying for a while. You've got a point. And it's funny because a lot of it has to do, with the ratings. When the fans are looking at this, this is the bottom line with this. I'm going to be totally honest. Nobody would care about the ratings. Nobody would really care about the viewership if it wasn't for a couple of things. One, Hallmark doesn't even post it. That has nothing to do with Hallmark. They don't post things like that. They don't show you the ratings for the different movies that come out, or The Way Home, or when they had Chesapeake Shores, or whatever their other shows were. That is straight up the producers for the When Calls the Heart. It's something that they always did, and good for them, because ratings is important to them. But when you get people involved, everyday people, and trying to explain it and stretch, and I'm not saying people are dumb, that's not what I mean, but a lot of people are like, I watch live, I watch mobile. They don't understand. That's part of the issue. The other part of the issue is this. People who are mad and they're disgusted with the change in the show and how they were treated with their feelings they can't tell me different, are happy that the ratings stink. They're happy that the ratings were, the last time they were high was season 9. It gives them validation that they are correct, that storyline should have stayed. That's the bottom line. That's a person's hurt feelings. They're hurt. They're still hurt. And that is the bottom line. And some people straight up wish the show would fail. Not a lot, but some do. And many that do don't voice it, but they sure do voice it when they're out there in every week after week after week after week after week after week after week. This is a campaign that's been going on for weeks, writing the negative things that they write. So you are correct. You should be afraid. All that negativity does add up somewhere. Great podcast, Ro. Thanks for bringing us all together, getting excited for the next couple of episodes. Me too. And I love them too. I want to see more of Lucas. Edie would just be an aside as far as I'm concerned. I want to see more of him as well. Want to see more of Lucas and Edie and other characters. We did get quite a bit of characters now, which I love. I hope Hallmark does more tip line mysteries. Kristen Holland were great. I'm excited for that one too. I would like to see it too. But if the show fails, so many people are yes, bingo. And that's what cracks me up when they say that. That's why we don't allow stuff like that to be said on fan pages. But, we can't control, people say whatever they want or feel whatever they want on their own private X, like on X or Twitter or whatever we want to call it. I agree with you, Jan. And you know what else? Those who are on When Calls the Heart, they love it. It gives them pure joy. They are a family that has been together for years. You think about half of that cast, except for the Canfields, they came even a little later, but half of that cast has been together for 6 seasons, right? That's a long time. Like season 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Wow, that's even more than that. That's 7 seasons. I can't count. Good thing I stopped teaching math a while ago. But the others have been there for like 12 seasons, and people have grown up together. They love it. They respect each other. They are good friends and like family outside of the workforce. I have never heard anybody say a negative thing, not even the people that are no longer on the show. And I've interviewed some of them where they said, we're not going to talk about why I'm no longer on the show. And they might share a little tidbit or something, not like I'm privy to a lot of stuff, but never have I ever heard anybody that's involved with that show say something negative, which says a lot. Okay. So they just love it. I just wish everyone would let go of whatever upsets them. Enjoy the show while we have it, however long it is. You know what? Good night, everyone. Good night, Susan. You're welcome. That's true, but here's the thing. Putting that aside, some people just don't like how the show has been written the past few seasons. There's a lot of other stuff that they don't like that's in it. It's not so much about Elizabeth and Nathan and Lucas. It's more of other stuff too. Absolutely love your point of views and explanations, as it does make sense, and I appreciate it. You're welcome. Okay, so see you tomorrow if you want to talk about the rest of the show. And I'm so excited because I am loving the Angela storyline. I wish it came sooner. And today made me tear up because it was emotional because I have, disabled girly in my family, and she's not blind. But I just thought, oh, it was like hitting home. And Vienna was supposed to be my guest when the other girls were on, but she couldn't, and she will be. And we'll get to talk about this episode now, which is kind of like a blessing, right? We wouldn't have been able to talk about it then because it would not have happened. So, all right, we're going to pray for South Carolina, Margie. We are. All right. I'm just saying, everyone's saying thank you. All right. Good night, everyone. Have a good one. Good night.